Why does Huberman recommend magnesium threonate? I am literally incapable of telling you. I've not looked into it at all.
No, my recollection is that of what I was hearing when he was telling me don't take the melatonin. It's like I was always an insomnia guy. I'm a big productivity person, so it's always very hard my whole life for me to go to sleep because I was like, there's so much more I could be doing.
Unless it was in your car. Yeah.
Well, see, that was the issue. At a certain point, you get so tired, you just sleep in your car.
Ideally, while you're driving. You know?
But like, exactly, like I was staying up so late, even when I was like younger. But so it's like
the grind set was always there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, I have so much I could do. So I could never sleep. So I was like, I need to start taking melatonin, right?
Yeah.
Especially, it got particularly bad when I was living in Montana. And I was my girlfriend.
Cabin fever.
No.
Just shining out there in the bucket.
No, it was beautiful. Like the place. Oh, I love Montana so much. That was like my favorite spot. But I had to drive Natalia to work in the morning because she didn't want to drive with all the deer on the road, right? Because she's from California, she doesn't know what deer are. So and like not that like I'm like Mr. Deer or anything
These
like that.
rats are huge. What the fuck is this?
And like someone needs to do something about this. It's getting out of hand.
What are all these giant rabbits?
But so I had to drive her to work, and she's a nurse, so I have to get up at like 6 in the morning. I was like, there's no shot. Like my biological clock is not a 10 p.m. sleep.
Yeah, no.
So I started taking the melatonin then, much more heavily, very reliant on it. I hate being reliant on things. But then I'm listening to Huberman Lab on the way back, and he's like, you gotta stop with that melatonin.
I'm like,
yep. But his evidence for it, he's like, they've done studies, and this is from one of them calling like a couple years ago. He's like they've done these studies. And they showed that it can have a negative effect on you during puberty. And he's like, so it could potentially have an effect on you older. He's like, I'm not saying it does. It's just that there haven't been studies looking at it.
But that's also like kind of my beef with Huberman is he's the king of like, well, there was this study. You know, and it's like really like a limited sample size, very like cursory evidence, and like it's also like very scary. Where he's gonna be like, "There's just a chance your penis might not have grown," and you're like, "Okay, well that's."
I missed that specific episode.
You know, it's like it's fucking like the most like out there shit.
No, but I do appreciate though that he's very careful to say like this is not supposed to be prescriptive. I think he is actually very careful with his language. He's like, this is what happened. So it's like, if we're looking at melatonin, which has essentially like a mark against it, and magnesium, which is only like, you know, nothing bad, tons of studies on it, looks great, and it's much better regulated than melatonin, where it's like, they have no requirement to actually put into it what they say they are.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, take the magnesium. And I'm like, you know what? I will get magnesium. But my issue was I didn't like the taste of the pill I got, and so I had to do something else. So I had to get into like an actual proper bedtime ritual.
Wait, you were like tasting the pill?
I do chewables. I was doing gummies, and
what?
And I was like, this is not it.
But
and,
also the gummies are kind of a fun little treat.
And I know it's like right before bed. I'm gonna have something, and then I'm gonna floss and brush my teeth, and I'm gonna go to bed.
The problem is when you really like it, and like I dated someone who was like, I mean this like it's like it induced like a hypomania when like she would have one, she'd be like, it was like all caution to the wind.
Wait, what was she taking one of?
It was just a little gummy melatonin.
Oh my god! Okay, it was the melatonin.
And she would go on. I would like, you know, be like, all right, let's have our melatonin. I'd like go out and I'd like, you know, do something out in the living room or something. I'd come back. She'd have like 10 more by the time I came back, and I'm like, you've had 14 grams of melatonin.
They're too yummy.
Like you were not going to wake up. It didn't even affect her.
And that's part of what Humor was saying. It was like, you know, you take the thing and it says it's got 500 milligrams or whatever,
like, no.
and it's like no, it doesn't matter. It's like it could have 0 or whatever. It could have wait milligrams or grams, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like
there's no oversight as to like,
and he's like, even if you could take like 100 grams of it and it would be like, all right, I mean like you're gonna be drowsy. And I was like, that was the one symptom that I did notice that I didn't like. I was like, I do sometimes wake up. I've had 8 hours and I'm still drowsy for an hour or two. I'm like, I'm not crazy about that. So now I just read before bed, and that actually solves all my problems.
It's crazy how boring reading is. Like, it really does put you to sleep.
I didn't even mean boring.
It's crazy.
I just meant you're not shining a light in my face.
Yeah.
Because I especially at that time, work from home during the pandemic, I would just work super late at night, and my work is on a laptop. It's like, it was a horrible idea.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, well.
We're really bending work right now.
What does that mean?
Come on, it was Smite.
Wait,
It
what?
was late night. It was Smite. When was the
Smite was off of Mac by that point.
When did Smite move off of Mac?
Dude, it was 2019.
Should I not? Did I? I'm sorry. I don't want to.
It's like it wasn't entirely their fault
This
because
is a mistake. I'm sorry.
like Mac stopped supporting
You have
32-bit
great
apps.
eyebrows. Where do you? Let's go to something
Dude,
positive.
somebody, Matt showed me on his Reddit today that someone actually sent that to a girl, and she's like, "Oh, I appreciate you appreciating my eyebrows and stuff."
It is a good one. It is.
Yeah,
it is a good one.
I was super surprised that Chubby Little Monkey came on. She was like, "Girls are gonna think you're making fun of them," and I was like,
"Fuck her."
And I was like, I don't think they're gonna think you're making fun of them. I do think
confused. that might be a one-off more than like a rule. You know what I mean? I think that might be like maybe she would feel that way if she were to hear.
And then I'm like, so that could be a personal thing. That she's like, oh, I want to. But she had really nice eyebrows. So I was like, if she had come in and she had like some, fuzzy caterpillar situation, looks totally ungroomed, then she might be like, whoa. But I'm like, she clearly puts effort into her eyebrows. So if you say, I would be really surprised if she as a person thought that.
I think it's like an earnest compliment. Like, I think that an earnest compliment is typically going to be received well if it's not delivered in a way that's sleazy. And I think that in the event,
so many can come off as sleazy if you don't mean it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's like, it's kind of in the eyes. It's like, have you ever, so you liked the movie American Psycho, right?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Fantastic
So did you know that Patrick Bateman as a character is based on Tom Cruise as a human being, correct?
From his Oprah interview, he's like there's no
intense friendliness with
like,
nothing behind the eyes.
Smile here,
and there is he meant the third middle tooth. He meant
he's got the
yeah. It's something like that. But there is something to be said for like, wow, great eyebrows, one of a kind, and like actually being like, wow, holy shit, I love your eyebrows. Those are really nice, you know. And they're both sociopathic because I could spawn those on a whim without actually meaning it, So yeah.
Right.
But it is scary. The Oprah interview was surreal. I think that's mania. Or that's Scientology. Maybe that's the Thetans. Maybe I'm the loser. Maybe they're right.
Well, I swear I heard with the Oprah interview, I might be misremembering, but I swear I heard that like they cut out a lot of it, and like he had been on the couch for like 4 hours.
The fuck?
Yeah, it was like I think they like it's like a classic move, but I think like, he clearly like did go nuts, but I think he was just like at the end of his rope.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I feel like Tom Cruise gets so much shit, and it surprises me because I'm like, I haven't like. Decades ago, I did hear, there's stories about him being weird, in like the aughts or whatnot. But I'm like, honestly, it seems like he has a pretty good sense of humor.
For becoming famous at like 14, like what do you do?
Yeah.
Like what do you do? Like how do you even hope to escape that with like a modicum of like self like of just like groundedness and like a sense of duty to the world? Like how can the world has been about you.
Like everyone has worshipped. Do you remember Justin Bieber?
Oh yeah, amazing. No, honestly, frankly, amazing that the guy can laugh at himself at all.
Yeah,
like it's actually a feat that he's not the single worst human being ever.
And he was.
Well, for a bit.
It's like I when I was in high school, I found him incredibly annoying, as every high school boy did.
But that was also very in vogue. Like I don't know why we did.
And it was just like his music's generic, and I'm like, that's so true.
Dude,
and I'm like, do I listen to music? I don't listen to music. But it's like, and then he just became like just a piece of shit.
Dude was just having sex with beautiful women and traveling the world and being important to people, and we hated it.
Well, but then he did become like he caused some thousands of dollars of damage, like doing vandalism. He went to the Anne Frank house and like wrote in the.
But she might have been a believer. I mean.
We can hope she would have been, right?
I just hope my music would have, but like there's so many better ways to say it. But like I really hope that some of what I hope that something would have resonated with her that I had done, because what she did really resonated with me, everything she had written.
Everything she did resonated with me. He's like, wow, so failing to survive that hug.
It reminds me a lot of really 2007. Just all fucking dumb.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. I don't know, man. Like when you look at a dude, like when you give someone the keys to the fucking world.
Yeah.
I mean the world. And a bunch of people who want to be on his good side, so they're like, he's like, I'm tired now. Like, would you like some cocaine? Like, this is really good at making you not tired.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I don't think I should do cocaine. And he's like, it's free. And then you're like, okay.
You seen Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story?
You don't want no part of this shit, Dewey. Turns all your bad feelings into good feelings. I don't want to get addicted. It's not habit forming.